What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Usually we only talk about trophy hunting and gaming on this channel, but instead today me and my good friend Iliya, we're going to be talking about starting a gaming YouTube channel. So what I've done is I wanted to do this video for quite some time, and I actually tried to do a video like this some time ago and it just utterly flopped. And I really, after speaking to Iliya, because me and Iliya speak all the time about bouncing ideas off each other about YouTube and stuff, I thought he's a perfect bloke to come in and give some advice as well. So thanks for coming on, Iliya. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Are you looking forward to passing on your wisdom to all of our viewers?
Definitely.
We don't have big channels. You know, I've got about 5,500 subscribers. Iliya's got 1,000. However, because we're so small, we have recently been through the struggles, and we have, I would say, overcome, because most channels don't hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's like less than 1% hit 10,000. Yes, we aren't at 10,000, but we are probably going to hit it at some point. So we're new at this. We have experienced these struggles very, very recently, and especially for yourself, Iliya, you've hit like 1,000 subs in like 6 months, so that's pretty impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, I did feel it like it was pretty quick, to be fair. And I would say it took me about 3 months to hit 100 and another 3 months to get from 100 to 1,000, which is, it was pretty crazy, to be fair. But it only happened because I started actually noticing things I did wrong and improving upon them. And this is something that I would like to share with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think your channel has exponentially grown. So it took me like about 10 months to hit 1,000 subscribers, which I would like to say is actually still pretty good. So if you're watching this channel now and you've been making videos for a while and things aren't going out the way you want to go, we're going to tell you why that might be the case. But also, just bear in mind that it does take a lot of time. People want to hit that 1,000 subscribers so fast, but it is pretty difficult to do. Okay, what we'll do is we'll start with our tips. I know we've rambled on a little bit. I just wanted to chat a little bit about us, you know, put ourselves in there because, you know, why not? So Iliya, what would you say your first tip is to someone who's looking to start a gaming YouTube channel?
I think the most important part is to know why you're starting your YouTube channel, because a lot of people, I think now it's not as common as it used to be a couple of years ago, because now people actually do start to understand that it's not as easy and it's not like you can upload videos and instantly become famous. People do know that, something that maybe not a lot of people thought about a few years ago. But people have to understand that if you start a YouTube channel, you need to set yourself goals and you need to know why you're actually doing it. So if you want to do it just to get fame and get money or whatever, you probably shouldn't. So I think the only good reason to start your YouTube channel is because A, you have something to say and you are actually enjoying making this content. Otherwise, I think it's not gonna pan out as you would wish.
Yeah, I think as well with YouTube, for a lot of people who actually start making some form of income, the income is very small, and it's less than minimum wage for a long time, and you kind of need to be doing something that you really enjoy, because otherwise it's just another job. If I was making videos on tractors for YouTube, and yeah, I was getting, you know, a couple million views or something, and I was making okay money, I wouldn't want to do it long term because it's not what I enjoy, it's not my passion. And I think it's important to understand that, yeah, you've got to pick something that is your passion and that you're prepared to put the time in when you wouldn't be prepared to put time into other things. Because if you're not enjoying it as much as, if you're not enjoying it, it's just the same as any other job, apart from the fact that you have a lot of less money and a lot of time commitment and you're your own boss, which is good and bad, but it has a lot of negatives as well. Anything else on that, Iliya, before we move on?
I would want to say as well, like, even if you think that you will be starting making some money at some point, it's still pretty expensive to even start, because you need to buy a mic, you need the editing software, you need the computer. You will probably be losing money in the first like 6 months to a year at least. So you should seriously consider it if you're not actually passionate about it.
No, I agree. I don't think I've turned a profit yet on my YouTube in terms of the cost, and I've been going for like a year and 4 or 5 months now at this point, and I've been monetized for about, say, 5 months, no, about 7 months now I would say I've been monetized for, and I think I haven't turned a profit yet because of how much stuff costs, like lighting, because it's always like you always have to be prepared to upgrade, because like everything can always be better in the early stages. You want to be getting the good equipment because it does make a difference. However, that's not to say you can't start without just having a webcam and a microphone. I think the microphone is definitely the most important thing.
Yeah,
I think the sound quality is really important. People listen to YouTube probably more than they watch it. I don't know if that's actually true, but I definitely will have YouTube on the background and kind of teeter in between something else, and if it sounds poor, you really do notice it. I'll move on to my first tip. So my first tip is consistency is king. being that you have to post regular content. Now this doesn't have to be a set amount of times, but I would probably advise, I don't know what you feel, Iliya, but I think 1 to 2 times a week, with a small channel is an appropriate amount to be pushing out content. I think you have to decide, you have to find content that will take you some time to make, but you have to balance it between making good content in a reasonable time. You don't want to be spending 25 hours on a video to do one a month and it just not get any traction. It's better to do 1 or 2 videos a week that maybe take you 10 hours a video, and that way you can consistently be there, you're building up a following. It takes a lot of time for YouTube to start suggesting your content. That's another thing. You have to have good watch time to keep people watching, because eventually YouTube uses the algorithm to keep pushing out your content. And if your videos aren't coming out regularly, there isn't going to be the interest, and YouTube isn't going to help you push it at all, which means you're going to be fighting against the algorithm by posting, say, once a month, especially before you have an audience. If you haven't got an audience, it's really difficult. It's difficult enough, but if you don't have a consistent upload schedule, it's even harder.
Yeah, I really agree with this one. I think that consistency is actually more important than quality. And it doesn't mean that your videos should be crap, right?
Yeah.
It's not what I'm saying. Your videos should be... You should try to make each video like better than the previous one. But you shouldn't like spend a whole month making one video and try to be perfect, because it won't be perfect anyway when you start out. Your first videos will probably be bad. Like my first videos were bad, like no question about it. So you should try to stick to some kind of schedule. I think even once a week is good enough. And as long as you're trying to actually improve from one video to another, you should be fine. But if you're not consistent and you post like once a month, it's very true. It will be very difficult for you.
I agree. I think as well, there's always going to be outliers to these advice. Yes, some channels blow up with one video. These things do happen, but the majority of content creators out there, unless you're doing something ridiculously different that's going to actually develop traction, if you're miles ahead of the game in something, that is how you just get discovered quickly. But most people don't have the capacity to do that. If you're making a gaming channel anyway, most gaming channels have been done before. So the reality is, it's going to take long-term effort to build up a channel, and ultimately you need to have that consistency. And I agree with you, Iliya. I would argue as well that I think consistency is more important than quality. You do need both to a degree, but the idea that every video you do, that is an opportunity to make a better video next time. So if you're making 3 videos a week instead of 1 video a week, that's mean you're going to get better at making videos 3 times as fast, which means that in a year your videos will be better, so you'll have the quality and the content as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it also helps with your backlog library as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to like 500, 600, 700 subscribers, those people will start watching your older videos as well. So yeah, it will boost your views overall, and maybe your older videos will start be pushing out more. And the more backlog of content you have, the better it is for you.
We'll move on to our next tip, which I'll hand over to Iliya for this one.
Yeah, so my next tip is to be patient, and I think it's very important. And it's something that we did talk a little bit about in the beginning of the video, but I do want to mention it again, because like you said, Luis, a lot of people think that it's quick and easy and you will upload videos and you will blow up and whatever. And yes, that's true. Some channels do actually. Some channels can blow up from like 1 or 2 videos, but it's very rare. And a lot of the times it might actually hurt you in the long run, because if you have one video that blows up and you have no idea why, and you have no idea how to replicate it, it's not gonna help you. I saw a lot of channels that have like thousands of subscribers, and every video they upload gets like 20-30 views. So what's the point? And all of that come from one video that got like 1 million views, which is, again, it's awesome, but you have no idea how to replicate it. So it will be even harder for you and even more frustrating for you to make it a successful YouTube channel. So I think it's better to be patient and manage your expectations, because I remember like in the first couple of months I was making videos, I was working on them 20 hours a week, and they would get like 10 views, and I was like, so frustrating. But nowadays, after I put in the work, and now I'm actually starting to get those views. Now I'm actually starting to get this traction. So you have to manage your expectations. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think there's some awesome tips there. That's really awesome. I think we want things now. It's instant gratification, and I think it can be really easy to get attached to the numbers as well, because although YouTube is different to most social media, there's still the likes, there's still the comments, there's still the subscribers. You know, it's easy to compare to things like Instagram and stuff, and you know, a lot of people do have really do attach their self-value to Instagram stuff, and it's about thinking, well, you know, it's early stages. You don't, you know, there's a very common saying, you know, you don't compare your page 1 to someone else's page 60. I completely agree. I think you just need to think, okay, I think 1,000 subscribers in a year should be the realistic expectation. That should be your goal, and I think you should evaluate every 2 to 3 months to make sure you're on track for that. But I think if you're going into the YouTube thinking, okay, I'm going to hit 5,000 subscribers in my first year, I think it can be done, but I think you are potentially setting yourself out for disappointment, because it's like a snowball, YouTube. It gets bigger as it goes down the hill. And yeah, it might take you a year to get your first 1,000, but like me, it took me almost a year to hit my first 1,000, but I'm probably going to hit 8 or 9 in my second year. So who's to say that I won't continue to grow like that? And as well, quickly on that viral thing, I think a long time ago, you know, 5-6 years ago, it was about the viral videos. It was about making videos that are relevant, that are going to be pushed out, and they're going to get lots of traction. But now, YouTube's more about the watch time. It's more about building a community around your channel, and if you can build a community around your channel, people will keep coming back and watching your content again. What does better? Well, this might not be the best comparison, but a Netflix film or a Netflix weekly TV show or a Disney TV show. That's a perfect example of the fact that Netflix did The Witcher, which came out in 1 week, whereas Disney Plus did The Mandalorian, which came out every week for 8 weeks. The amount of view time Disney would have got would have been extensively different because of the fact that it was released weekly. People kept coming back, and that's kind of what you want to do with your YouTube channel. Think of it as a TV show, not a film, as well, I would say. Okay, next topic is, so again, this is predominantly gaming, but this does apply to most things, is to niche down. I think it's really difficult to make a very broad channel when you first start. I think there's a few topics which really do struggle to get traction, I think, and I think you should really try and find something that hasn't been done before. Even if it's just a different approach, if you're going to review games in a different way, if you're going to take a different approach, you need to do something that makes it a little bit different, but it doesn't have to be completely different. But you can't just do a game review for Bloodborne, which is exactly the same as everybody else, because there's a reason why it won't get any views, because you just have to think, how can I take an idea and slightly turn it into something else? And that's just basically all media in every shape, way, and form. You know, just think the Avengers storyline hasn't been taken from somewhere else. With great power comes great responsibility was taken from something else. Okay, like that phrase was taken by some explorer, and Stanley took it and used it for Spider-Man. Like, everything is something else. So I think it's just picking a niche, sticking to it, and making it a little bit different.
Yeah, I would agree, because gaming is not a niche anymore. I think it used to be in like 2010 maybe, but now gaming is not a niche. But I would say that it doesn't necessarily, like me and Luis, we're talking trophies basically. That's our niche, right? But you can do, I don't know, FPS games, you can do city building games, you can do whatever. It doesn't have to be, just don't do, I don't know, like FPS game one day and the strategy game the next day, and racing game the next day. Because people who are interested in Call of Duty games won't necessarily be interested in racing games, and vice versa. And that's the reason. And YouTube, the algorithm wants to see that people are coming back to your videos. That's like the biggest flag for them, that your videos are actually good, that the people are actually coming back. And if you are all over the place, YouTube won't know who to show your videos to. Yeah. And this is very important. And this is why niching down is so important. By the time when your channel is actually big enough, you might be able to actually expand your approach and do something different and do something more broad, because you will have this audience, this core audience, that will watch whatever you upload. But in the beginning, you absolutely have to niche down.
Yeah, you can't be doing a Let's Play. You can't be doing Fortnite tips 1 week and then the next week doing a Let's Play of Call of Duty, then the week after doing a list of your favourite top 10 games or the best games on Xbox 360, because they're just so scattered. People aren't going to come. And people go on YouTube for very specific things. Like, I would never, ever watch a guide on Fortnite. And as well, even if you did a video, if you split your time up into, say, 4 or 5 varying subjects, then if one of them does well, that might draw in the audience which does not care about the rest of your videos, which means that they won't return to your videos, which means YouTube will think that video's not very good and will not push it out. I think you can go as far as say some games are so big you can go as far to niche down on those. I've seen channels with like just do videos on Skyrim, which have 50, 60, 70, 100,000 views. per video. I've seen videos on Fortnite, obviously on Call of Duty, but then again, genres. I follow a lot of like RPG channels who just cover new RPGs, people who just do CRPGs, just do strategy RPGs or JRPGs. Just that's the sort of level of niche I would suggest. One subtopic within the gaming atmosphere.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
Okay, and then what we'll do is, Iliya, we'll pass the mic over to you for your next tip.
Thank you. So the next tip I think is very important, and the tip is to make sure that the content you make is the content that you would personally watch. And I think it's a big one, because this is something that did push me a little bit out of type of videos that I was making in the beginning, right? I started as a Let's Play channel, basically. I was doing like challenge Let's Play videos without commentary, and no one was watching them. And when I started to think about it, like, why is nobody watching them? And then I came to the conclusion that, well, even I wouldn't watch them. So basically you have to make videos that you would personally watch.
I think that's fair. I think what you're saying to me is how I read it is like, you've got to be self-aware. You've got to be able to reflect. You've got to be able to look back, look internally and say, okay, would I watch this? I often, well, you should also be watching your own videos back. I know you watch it in the edit, but then when you finish editing it, you should watch it back. And then, although if I watch a video back and it's done, I know it's going up, I'll still watch it back and say, that was too long. That section was just absolute nothing, just yammering on for the sake of it. And I think it's just being overly critical of yourself. And again, thinking like, how can this be better? And would a friend, would someone who if I make a video reviewing a game, would somebody who's reviewed that game or played that game, would they actually watch it? And why would they watch it? And why would they not? Because if you're making as well, it's going back to doing something that you love, is that if you're making a video, if you're making YouTube around your hobbies, the video should be made for you. So when I make my videos, I often think these are the videos. When I started my channel, it was because I wanted to cover certain topics, and sometimes when I do well in a video, not every video is a winner, which we can all relate to, but when I do a good video and I look back and I say, this is the video that I wanted to make 18 months ago, these are the videos that weren't out there at the time, and I'm glad they're out there.
By the way, I actually do watch my videos sometimes like a couple of months after publishing them, and would cringe. It's important because it shows that I actually improved, first of all, and it shows like the flaws I used to make.
Yeah.
And I can reflect on them. Also, I think like showing them to your close people, to your close friends, close relatives, can be actually a bit detrimental. Try to say that it's great and it's good to support you, but in the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily great. Like, I remember, I won't forget it, because one of my first videos, I actually showed it to my very good friend, and he told me straight to my face that it's boring. And I'm like, ooh. And this video took me about 15 hours to make, by the way. And he straight up told me it's boring. But the thing is, like, I didn't take it to heart. I was like, okay, maybe he's right. And I analyzed it, and I came to my conclusions, and I pushed forward. So I think it's very important to be self-critical and not to let other people who are close to you to basically comfort you and tell you that it's great if it's not.
Yeah, I think it's better to because YouTube isn't about making a YouTube video to make yourself feel good. I mean, if you want to make a YouTube video and you want to do anything with it, it's about knowing what people want, and then also prepare and improving if you're not. I've made videos which have been total stinkers. I've watched videos back a couple of months later, and some have been terrible. Some have been, I've watched them back and thought, okay, so maybe my camera presence wasn't as good as what it should have been, but the ideas behind it were there. They just needed reforming or getting a little bit sharper, and that's kind of how you learn as you go, which goes back to the consistency thing as well. Yeah. If you keep making videos, you learn to get better. Okay, I'll move on to the next one, which is more of a specific practical tip. So most people who make YouTube videos, they'll make the video, they'll have the idea, they'll make the video, they'll bring it to life, then they'll then do the thumbnail, and they'll then do the title. What I would suggest, which I think will wrap into one of your videos later on, one of your points later, Iliya, is that, in fact, the thumbnail is probably one of the most important things. So I would suggest that you actually work on your title and your thumbnail first, and then derive the idea backwards, because that way, that you know that your idea is a winner, but also you can present that in a really attractive way to viewers. And I think me and you, Iliya, had this discussion a while ago, and I think it definitely changed how I make videos, or at the very least what I'll do is I will know what my thumbnail is going to be like. I will know that the title is going to be this, the text on the thumbnail is going to be this. I often say as well, 4 words on a thumbnail is more than enough. I think 4 words should be the limit. and it should be intriguing to the viewer. It shouldn't be misleading, but it should inform them that they want to know what you're about to say.
So about the thumbnails, I think it's a very important point, thumbnail and titles, because it kind of focuses you on the idea, on the main idea, because you have to understand who you're making your videos for, and presumably you're making them for someone who is like you, who is engaged in the same hobby or the same community or the same niche. So basically you start with the video that you would like to see, that you would like to watch, and you derive your video ideas and scripts and topics from that. And I think it's really helpful. It's really helpful to getting more views like from the homepage. And
yeah. On that, John, just quickly touch on click-through rate as well, Iliya.
Yeah. I think the most important analytics you should keep in mind is click-through rate and engagement. So basically you have to make your videos as long as they have to be. So, you know, cut out the dull moments, cut out the moments that don't actually add to anything. So basically if your video is 15 minutes long, but for half of the time nothing really happens, then it probably should be 7 minutes long. That's why I make 3-4 minute long videos, by the way. That's the reason. And the click-through rate is the second most important data. If your videos have good watch time and a good click-through rate, they will be pushed more aggressively. So those two metrics are the metrics that you have to be really focusing on, basically.
Yeah, I think just on that as well, quickly on the video length as well, I think short is definitely better for these small channels. When I first started, I remember doing game reviews and I thought, yeah, I'm not the best editor, but I'm a pretty good chatter, I'm a pretty good talker, and what I can do is I can talk for say 15 to 18 minutes and make a review on 18 minutes. And I remember making a few reviews on games like Resident Evil, Avengers, and thinking like, they really haven't done well. Why is that? Because I want to do an in-depth review. And now looking back, I should have made those videos 6 minutes long, because new people, when they discover your channel, they're taking a gamble on you. They're saying, okay, this is a new channel, it's interesting me with a thumbnail, but it's quite long, it's 18 minutes. Do I want to spend 18 minutes of my time on this video with someone I don't know? They get there, and then although it's maybe good content, it's a little bit stale. There's so many videos I've watched where I thought, what you're saying is so interesting, but also I kind of don't want to watch another 20 minutes of it.
Because that's the thing, right? Like, I think somebody told it to me, like people who are watching your YouTube video, they're looking for an excuse to leave. But it's very true, right? And as soon as it's starting to get stale, or as soon as you start repeating yourself, people start leaving. And it sends bad signals to YouTube. And it's not promoting your videos as hard as it would be otherwise. I think you should strive to get at least 50%, 60% retention. Like that's the goal, that's the ideal.
Which isn't easy, mind. So I know Iliya's saying that, but if you have a shorter video, it's a lot easier to do. So I would say, like a video that's, honestly, I think 5 minutes it could be too much. I think like under 5 minutes for the first couple months, just to get an audience, get people clicking in. Because you're right, people maybe aren't looking to leave on purpose, but as soon as something changes, people can be straight out there. And as someone who does watch a lot of YouTube, probably an hour a day to be honest, sometimes I'll watch a video and I'll say, okay, it's lost my attention. I'm aware of it now. I'm like, okay, it's 11 minutes long. After 2 minutes, it's just gone, and my interest is gone. And maybe if I might leave it on, but also maybe I will just say, you know what, sorry dude, no, you're out. I've watched videos that have been pretty good, but YouTube's so competitive that it's kind of like there's always something better. I've got one more. My tip is just do it. There's a phrase from Think Media, which is they've got a quite good podcast on YouTube channels on how to build a content empire.
I definitely recommend them.
Sean Cannell does like 30-minute chats, kind of like how long this will be, but he's one of those people who I'll watch and I often think, you are so good on camera, it's mind-blowing. But one of his slogans is, you just gotta press record. And I think that is so true, because you just gotta put yourself out there. If you want to make a YouTube channel, just don't care what people think. I say, this is something that I want to do, it's going to make me happy. I'm a little bit apprehensive, just go for it. It's not always best to jump 2 feet first into something, but sometimes you've got to just get over the hump. Sometimes you've got to take that first step, because it's usually the hardest.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like, the timing never will be perfect. You will always have reasons not to do it right now. Maybe you want to wait for a better camera, or maybe you want to wait for a better microphone, or whatever. But in the end of the day, if you don't start, then it will never happen. So,
yeah.
That's a really good point.
I didn't know how to crop images. I didn't know how to cut anything on images. I didn't know how to video edit. I didn't know how to structure topics. I didn't know how to approach people who I've never met before via social media to get them on podcasts. I didn't know how to run a podcast. Didn't know how to make backgrounds. Didn't know how to make thumbnails. Didn't know where to get music from. And these are all the things that I learned from just taking the step and thinking, I've got to do this, so I'm going to do it. As well, what I would say finally is that although I don't, obviously we both aren't going to say sub for sub, obviously don't do anything like that, you need natural growth, but being in some sort of community where there's other YouTube creators does help, because you can bounce ideas off each other. I mean, you bounce ideas off each other almost every day when we're making videos. Yeah.
If you actually want to do a YouTube channel, just do it. Like Luis, I had no idea how to do a video editing, photo editing. I actually learned all this while doing it. So if we can do it, you can do it too. Well, I just will want to wish you good luck if you actually decide to start your YouTube channel or decide to improve on it. It would be really awesome to hear if someone actually will after watching this video. So let us know.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, to be fair, if you are starting a YouTube channel, me and Iliya, both of us, you can message us, you can join the Discord, or you can message us on Twitter or down below, and we'll definitely try and give you some advice if we can. We would, yes, good luck to you. If you are starting a YouTube channel, I think you're making a good decision. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of cool people, you have some good conversations, and you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn what you can and can't do. And you develop. And you've always got to try and be the best you can be. There we go. Little cringe, little filler in at the end. On that, what I'll do, guys, is I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Of course, I'm PlatinumBro. On my right is Iliya. If you would like to watch his channel, his videos, you can see him down below. Great content creator, very good editing, which, as he's already said, he learned himself. So if you want a bit of inspiration on how good your videos can be, you should check his channel out.
Thank you. Okay.
Take it easy, guys. Bye.